I guess I've always known that I was adopted. It's not something I ever really remember being told. It's just something that I've always known. I don't think it's something that I really came to fully understand until I was about 7 or 8. I used to get really upset about it at night sometimes, even though I fully just didn't understand, I think, what I was getting upset about. I just would cry and my mum would come in, and I think the first time that I fully understood that there was somebody else out there who I didn't know who was my mother was when I think I was about 8 or 7, when my mum gave me a letter that she got in the adoption process from my biological mother, and it just kind of explained the fact that, you know, she loved me and she wanted me, even though she just didn't think that she could take care of me. And I think that's the first time I really understood what it meant to be adopted. Cheryl and Ross are my adoptive parents. I call them mum and dad, and they're just the best parents that I could ever wish for. They don't care if I want to seek out my biological parents. In fact, I think they encourage me to do what I want to do and always be myself. And I think when I was little, like when I was, 10 and 12, I used to get in fights with my parents a lot, and one thing I always knew that I could get away with anything was if I said to my mum that you're not my real mum. And I said that quite a lot. In respect, it was quite a horrible thing to say, but my parents still love me no matter what, and I know that no matter what I do or who I become, they'll always love me and they'll always be my parents. So for my 18th birthday party, I had a big party with all my close girlfriends and just people that affected me in life, and I had my parents there, and then I had my 2 really good family friends, Gloria and Remus, and Gloria was there when my mum found out she was getting a child, so it was all kind of nice. And anyway, my parents gave a big speech. Actually, it was Dad doing the most of the talking, which is quite rare because my dad's not a man of many words. Basically, it was just him saying how proud he was of me and how he loved me so much. But I think one of the big things that affected me in the story was a story he told. When he first adopted me, people apparently said to him, "Aren't you afraid that when she turns 18 she'll just turn her back on you and walk out after all the money you spent on her and everything?" And Dad just replied to them, "Any child could do that," which is true, but I think it just shows how much my parents just love me and they really do see me as their own child, and me not being biological from them, my mom didn't give birth to me, I don't think it really matters to them at all, not in the slightest little bit. They just think of me as their own child. So now I'm 18, I can legally go out and apply for documentation about my parents, my biological ones. Now that I'm hopefully older and wiser, I think it is something that I'll look into the future about finding out about my biological parents, especially my sister, because I have a sister that stayed with my mother, and I've always wanted a sister, always. I've always wanted a sibling, and I'm an only child here, so I'd really, really like to find her and just be sisterly with her. I think that'd be really awesome, and I'd love to find my mum. I'd really like to, at least I'd like to find a photo of her, because it always used to make me upset when the other kids would talk about how they look like their mothers, and they'd point out oh, I've got my mother's eyes, my father's chin, and I'm never able to do that, and it's something I'd really like to know who I look like and where I got my genes from. So I think being adopted has affected me in many different ways, but I think something that I'm always really grateful for is that my whole family has accepted me for who I am, and they haven't let me not being my parents' biological daughter affect them. It's just a difficult thing having in your head that, like, yes, my biological mother did love me and she did want me, but I think it's difficult knowing that you were a mistake. Like, you weren't planned to be brought into this world, you were a mistake, you were an accident, and I think that is something really hard to live with. And I think my mother leaving me at such a young age has given me, like, I really do have a lot of trust issues from that. Like, I don't expect a lot of people to stay in my life because, you know, if your mother doesn't stay, how can you expect anyone else to stay? And I think that has affected me really badly in my life and my relationships. But it's something that I'm big enough to overcome, and due to my really good friends that I have and my family, it's something that I'm working to overcome. It is difficult, but just because I was a mistake doesn't mean it doesn't have to affect the rest of my life.